Welcome to the Hustler's Manifesto podcast. We jailbreak from toxic hustle culture. We take hustler back from a belief that bigger is better, security is contingent on compliance, and freedom is reserved for the powerful. I'm your host, Sarah Duran. I'm not here to tell you how to make a quick buck. I'm here to change the way work is done so that we can live more meaningful lives right now instead of betting on an uncertain future. If you value this content, please rate it and comment on this podcast wherever you get it. If you're a freelancer, consultant, or solopreneur who needs better strategy for your business, learn more about what I do at fruitioninitiatives.com. Thanks for being part of the movement. Hi, Chrissy and Jim. How are you guys?
Hi.
Hey,
Great.
great.
I'm so glad to have you here. As I was saying before we hit record, we've been trying to record this one for quite some time with various degrees of calendar and technical difficulties. And so I'm really glad that we're here today to learn all about your super cool company. So let's get started with the first questions that we ask everyone, which is, who are you? What is your work? And why do you do it?
So I'm Jim Neitzel. I'm one of the co-founders of Aces on Tap. Chrissy and I built a marketplace for coaches, freelancers, and advisors. And I'm in it because I've known too many people in my life that have been unhappy with traditional working arrangements and wanted to build something that was disruptive and funneled all of the value from those transactions directly into the actual workers.
And I'm Chrissy Lindsay. I'm the other co-founder of Aces on Tap. Jim and I have known each other 20 some years at this point. We started at a 9-to-5 job together, and we've both been entrepreneurs separately for years. During the pandemic, we were talking about building something together for the first time. Years ago, when we had our own separate entrepreneurial businesses, we would get together and brainstorm and have mastermind sessions together and so on. And now we're actually able to do this together. And I think the thing that I'm most excited about with Aces on Tap is actually helping people get paid the value that they're worth. That I still have a 9-to-5 job for now. One of my biggest pet peeves is seeing companies charge $250 an hour for your time and paying you $36. It just doesn't seem fair. And I have a lot of righteous indignation built up inside about it. So that's how we got here.
I love that. We're going to definitely circle back on that one because that's also one of my pet peeves and one of the main reasons that I do the work that I do. So we're going to definitely hit on that one a little bit harder. Before we go there, tell us just a little bit about Aces on Tap. Well, I think when you first reached out to me, I was like, this looks cool. I want to know more about this. I get to interview a lot of cool folks who run different like boutique agencies or like platforms or ecosystems or communities for freelancers and solopreneurs. And so I'm always interested to see a new way of thinking about it, which is what I immediately thought when I saw yours. So tell us a little bit about it.
Jim, you want to go through this one or you want me to take it?
I can take it. Yeah. So we build Aces on Tap. It's a marketplace for people to get connected with advisors or consultants or freelancers directly. And our thinking was when you're looking for information, maybe you're searching the internet, maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you're on Reddit, and you're looking for a solution to your answer an answer to your question. And you're getting a lot of general information about the topic that you're interested in. But what you really need is a specific answer. And so often we thought to ourselves, what would it be like if we could just click a button and talk to the most respected person in the subreddit that we've been searching for the last 3 days? And so Aces on Tap was born out of that. And we built it as a platform to help people get started quickly and monetize all of the useful information and skills and passions that they have that they're doing anyway right now and just not getting paid for it.
Tell us a little bit more about what it includes and like back to what you were saying in the beginning, Chrissy, like what's the fee structure? Like how does it work?
So if you are searching for information, you book time with an ACE. You will pay the ACE directly. So you're a client, right? And you have a question about building a deck in your backyard and you look for an ACE that can build a deck. and you just want to run over your plan. Here are the materials I have, here's the plan, but you want to get in that DIY space and you want to do it yourself, right? So you book time with an ACE, you pay the ACE directly. We don't take a cut of what the ACEs make. The ACEs collect the money directly in their own because we're teaching them to be business owners, right? Not get this little thing, but teaching them to really take charge of their own future and really own their business. They have their own business account. The funds go directly to them. So clients pay them directly. We capture feedback on the sessions from both the ACEs and the clients. So we build a reputation system for both sides. The ACEs subscribe to our platform for $49 a month. There's a discount if you pay for the whole year in advance. We have coupon codes. We'll give those out throughout the episode, but we have coupon codes available for people to try it out and get started. So that's high level how it works. And for the ACEs, what's included is your video conferencing. So a lot of freelancers or like those boutique shops you're talking about, they have a Calendly subscription and that costs them some amount of money every month. And they have a Zoom subscription, but sometimes their customers want to use Teams or Google Meet, and they have all these little things add up. You can be found in our marketplace. If you need to connect with a customer, you get your calendar subscription. We use an open source Calendly competitor called cal.com, which is amazing. Shout out to those guys. They're doing a great job in this space. And we integrate with open source video conferencing that works just like anything else. You can share your screen, you can have a little chat during it, and it's full video on that works right in your browser. That's all included in the cost, along with the reputation system. So we're getting feedback from the clients. We're getting feedback from the ACEs on clients. If there's a problematic client, we want to know about it, right? We don't want to send that problematic client to a new ACE. And really, we're building this whole community, especially for freelancers. When you're starting your own business or starting your own space, there are things that you're great at that you want to turn into a business. And then for me, there's marketing, right? So we have ACEs who help us with marketing because that is not a thing that I love. So now we have this whole community of people who are helping each other out. And I think that's probably one of my favorite parts about the whole thing.
I love that. So you're providing not just like the platform and the marketplace, but you're also providing some of the infrastructure that people need to be able
Right.
to get up and running. I'm like, one of the things that I loved so much when you first reached out to me was the name. So I love the name so much. And I love that you call them ACEs because what it, like, sounds like you're hitting on too, and I saw this when I first went on y'all's website, is I think that people in this day and age, you can Google almost anything, right?
That's
Like, you can figure out how to do anything online, but it's not gonna give you the same level of expertise that you have if you have an actual human. Like, yesterday, I downloaded, like, a template for a subcontractor agreement, and that might be fine for what I need it for with this, like, very familiar person that I work with all the time. If that's not a replacement for an actual lawyer, right? So, I think that there's so many examples of, I think, ways that people are getting information online that only gets them, like, three-fourths of the way there or only helps them do, like, an imperfect job, and I love this model so much because I think what you said, Jim, is, like, people really wanna reach out. People wanna talk to an expert, and the, like, catch-22 of, I think, online resources is that it a lot of it is really there to get you to, like, do the next thing, right? They're only giving you the tip of the iceberg type of information. So I love
yeah.
being able to tap directly into resources, and I would imagine you're
Yeah.
also, like, I'm curious about, I think the deck example was really interesting to me. I'm curious about the types of ACEs that you're attracting to your platform and, like, the breadth of skills and expertise that these folks have.
That's really interesting. There are so many because think about yourself, right? Think about the things that you can do. Think about the things your friends and family call you for help with. Yes, you're an accomplished podcast host, right? But you do other things. You have other interests. If you look at my ACES profile, you will find I will help you set up a martial arts tournament. I will also bake you a custom cookie recipe. I'll help you develop a custom cookie recipe. I will also help you with productivity because I'm a complete, well-rounded person with a lot of really strange hobbies. And that's part of the best thing, one of our developers on the platform who has done some development work for Aces on Tap teaches guitar lessons and also does like home improvement projects. And he will do that deck project with you and look over your plan and help you make sure that you're not forgetting anything. Most of the things that he's learned through cold hard experience of this went very wrong for me and you should not make that mistake.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the breadth of things that are on there. We've got people that do corporate communications, and can assist with that or do copywriting. We've got people that do resumes and career counseling and that kind of thing. We've got people that do dog training. And I think our vision for Aces on Tap is eventually it's for all of the advice that you wish you had a qualified friend to tell you, right? We're talking about some things that there may be it may be possible to get expert help with, general help with on the internet. You can Google and like you said, Sarah, you can get in the ballpark of where you want to be. But try like fashion advice, right? Like good luck Googling that for your body type and your style and the level of professionalism or dress that you're looking for. Wouldn't it be helpful to just have somebody that was just like a fractional stylist that you could just call whenever you needed to? Hey, how does this is this good for an interview? Is this good for a date? Let me know where I'm at. Let me know what I should be thinking about.
I love that so much because I think that something we miss sometimes we miss the significance of is this human to human connection that is so important. And when you're getting something from like a Google search or putting it into Chat GPT, you could get some pretty good answers, right? And I think that kind of stuff is actually getting better and better in terms of giving you the answers. But I think that there's always something lost in translation if you're not actually talking to a human, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of things that, like, I think ACEs would be amazing for where ChatGPT might be easier for other things, right? But I think you thinking about the power of the human to human connection, I think is just, like, a really important part of y'all's platform.
I think the difference for me is you can get answers, but not reassurance.
Yeah.
Mm,
And that's especially like is this the right outfit? I'm not that girl, right? Like I have a friend, she's an ace actually. I have a friend that I take shopping with me if I need something for a particular dress coded type of thing because you need that. Is it really right? Is this the right level of formality or whatever? You just need maybe it's just me. Maybe I need and you can ask ChatGPT what to wear to a formal wedding or whatever, but is it right for me? I'm 5 feet tall. Is that outfit the right thing for me?
Yeah.
So, I think that's the difference for me.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's really resonating with me about this concept is the whole reason that I call the podcast The Hustler's Manifesto is because I think that the true meaning of the word hustler has gotten lost. Whereas where we're thinking about it as like someone who does whatever it takes to make money and get ahead, I actually think that hustlers are people who recognize the value in their own talents and are always looking for ways to utilize them, definitely to get themselves ahead, whatever that might mean for that individual, which is often one of those components is often about money, but not always the only one. And as you're talking about the aces that are on your platform, I'm just thinking about all these people with these like myriad talents that are like, "Hey, I'm good at this thing. I can help people with this thing," or these 5 completely different, maybe seemingly weird things that I know how to do,
yeah.
but it's just, like, helping people dig deep into, like, their inner strengths and talents and use them to help other people in a way that, like, I'm not sure I think it sounds I think it's, like, really unique in the world of, like, freelance platforms, right? Like, it's, "Hey, come talk to this expert about this, like, very specific thing, and look, she also does these other 5, like, very specific things."
Yeah.
One
And
one of our early things was like people in big cities, "Oh, yeah, I got a guy," or people that have lived someplace a long
Yes.
time. And it's that vibe, and you're like, "Oh, now there's this whole interwoven just this web of" that's where the "We've got an ace for that" came from. And it's the same thing. There's no reason that the guy that did our development can't also teach me to play the guitar. And now he doesn't have to have profiles on multiple platforms because they're all so specific
Right.
to the type of service that it is instead of to the person. So now it's building more of that human connection. Jim, you were going to say something. I think I started before you.
no, I love what you said, Sarah, about like helping or that hustlers are people that make the best use of the skills that they have. And I think that's one thing that we definitely wanted to highlight with Aces on Tap, right? Like your job might be graphic design whether you're doing that at a 9 to 5 or you're a freelancer. But that likely means you're pretty savvy in Photoshop and Illustrator, and Publisher, these applications. And there's a whole market of people out there that have a little bit of experience, know enough to be dangerous, but need to know some specific answers to get
Mhm.
a project done. This is an opportunity to leverage those skill sets in a whole new way and be able to consult on people that are already working on it instead of doing all the work for them.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And I think it also just like alone, like in my line of work, I'm usually telling people to get very specific about what they do. When I'm coaching solopreneurs, I'm like, the more we can narrow down what you do, the better. Because, like you said, not that people can't do five different things, but the infrastructure, the energy, and the time associated with selling five different things to five different audiences is really hard.
Yes.
And so I think this concept of being able to have a marketplace where all of your like talents, side hustles can be on display in a different way is really interesting. The thing that which is actually almost like the other end of the spectrum, but the thing that also makes me feel interested about this is I think this rise in quote unquote fractional types of employees right now, where I see a lot of folks, I think sometimes in some of the many hats that I wear, I refer to myself as a fractional COO. But I think the like rise of the like fractional C-suite person has really taken off. And while I think that is almost like I said, like the other end of the spectrum where those people are more like embedded within a company, it is still this same idea, which I think is again the power of the freelancer, the independent worker, where it's like for small businesses or individuals, especially small businesses, you don't have enough money to hire a CFO, right?
Totally.
You don't have enough money to hire a full-time graphic designer or even just someone that can just be like, "Hey, how do I format this in Photoshop?" Whatever it is. And so I feel like this like fractional talent is something that is not just so amazing for the independent worker, but also for the like small business, medium-sized business community where you now have access to top tier experts that you don't have to hire full time.
Yeah. Yeah. We call it micro consulting. And it could be that if you were a Fortune 500 firm, you would hire some big wig consulting company to come in and break everything down from the operations to the software to the talent that you needed to get this project executed. But if you're standing up a small business, like you have all those same needs, you're competing in that marketplace and you don't have access to those kind of resources. But with Aces on Tap, our vision is that you'll be able to boom, grab somebody for corporate communications. Boom, you grab a graphic designer. Boom, you grab somebody to help you with your brand strategy. And when you're ready for that next step, you re-engage with them.
Mhm.
And there's no huge capital outlay. You can do it on a piecemeal basis. It works for everybody. That's what we're seeing start to develop now. It's super exciting.
Yeah. It's really exciting. And I think it's just also I love that you brought up the thing about re-engaging because that was one of my questions too, is I would imagine that someone engages with an ACE and then that could turn into a long-term type of client relationship too for some of these folks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely true. Like you when you're setting up your sessions, you can set up recurring sessions. So if you wanted to do like group lessons and every Wednesday night I have a cooking class, you could do that. Sure. But you can re-engage with the same ACE. A lot of times our ACEs set up like a free consultation or a 15-minute consultation. You do a vibe check, right? You want to make sure this is somebody you want to work with. And this is a company you would feel good doing marketing for. They're not marketing something that you would be fully against or something. So you have this first consultation, and then you can set up like, okay, I'm going to do 4 hours of work for you, and then we're going to meet again. That's the other thing I think that's really cool about what we're building. I'm a little biased, obviously, but if there are a lot of platforms that are constantly warning you, don't take this work off the platform, we don't care. Go have a relationship, like work for them full time, part time, it doesn't matter because the ACE is just subscribed. So they're not giving us a cut of every session. It's not like they have to charge for every session. They can use this, like if you're a little marketing boutique or something, you can use this as lead gen. And this is a marketing cost to get leads,
Right.
do a 15-minute consultation, turn them into a long term customer that that never books with you this way or continues to book with you this way because he manages your calendar so nicely. But you don't have to worry about, oh, I gotta like, how am I gonna bill back and make sure that Jim and Chrissy get their cut? We don't want to cut. That's your money. You earned it. And I think that's something that's very different that lets people build that relationship without so much overhead going into it.
Totally. Yeah, I was literally just gonna ask about that. I think that's the beauty of the pricing model because I think that can especially with, I think, larger freelance platforms, that can be a real you're paying you're, like, making a deal with the devil to get in. Like, you're to
Sometimes.
be able to bid in order to build to benefit from the huge marketplace that a place like Upwork has, you're also saying, "Hey, you could take a percentage of my income and the client's paying a percentage and don't get me
Right.
wrong, we all gotta make money. Upwork's
Yeah,
making money just like the
for
rest of
sure.
us, but, um, that's why I always ask about the pricing structure because I think that I learn more and more as I talk to different especially, like, really highly curated boutique type of platforms or agencies where it's like, when you're really thinking about both sides of the equation, not just the quote unquote "client," but also the freelancer or the ace in your instance, then you really think more intentionally about the way you structure the business model and the pricing so that everyone is getting what they need.
Yeah, that was a core value of ours when we were conceiving the model is we never want to have an adversarial relationship or a parasitic relationship with our aces because we like our vision is to build something that provides value around everywhere, right? It's a win-win for everybody that engages with the platform. And, we saw what was happening with platforms like Upwork and other freelance platforms because in the beginning, they're like, okay, 20 or 30%, okay, but small numbers, fine. When you start to make a full time income out of that, 30% of $5,000 is $1,500 a month. Now, that starts to be a pretty significant burden. And then Upwork doesn't want you to leave. They don't want you to talk directly with your clients and take your business elsewhere. But our whole thing was how would this work if this was built by aces for aces? And you could build your business however you wanted. Listen, if you totally outgrow aces on tap and you built you take that business to a whole nother level and aces just doesn't make sense for you anymore, congratulations. Like we love that we were a part of that.
Yeah, I'm already thinking about, like, some of my other friends and peers and colleagues that run like, completely different business model structures, in terms of platform structure, but same thing, I think every time I talk to someone who is a hustler building a platform for other hustlers, it feels very different than when it's, like, more of a corporate structure where it's not necessarily and again, don't get me wrong, like, the platform doesn't work unless people pay and hire the aces, right? Like, you
Right.
still have to focus on
Yeah.
the client the quote unquote "client side" of the business, and I think that's, like, the really, I think, tricky balance that I think folks face when they're and I don't even know if it's tricky because I think, like you said it, Jim, it's just you just have to think about it intentionally, and you have to build it into the design from the beginning. So I love that. Let me ask you about I think we already touched on this a little bit when we were talking about can Chat GPT give us the same answers that ACEs can, but how are you guys thinking about AI in this context, especially for thinking about what something that might like a micro consulting question might feel like something that people are just like going to Chat GPT or something else for? How are you guys thinking about leveraging an AI or competing with AI maybe with this model?
Yeah, I think from AI is like really interesting, right? It's exploding, it's evolving. There's so much that it can do. Most of the AI models now are leveraging the information that's already on the internet, which is by definition mostly general because it has to appeal to a lot of people. And so there's a lot of gaps there. And I think the way we feel about it, we're not Pollyanna and we're not saying, okay, I will never replace aces on tap. But we do think that there are some areas that require that human connection and that require human expertise and skill to answer that question specifically and successfully. And I think Aces on Tap will be the platform for that. There will be certain things that listen, nothing's better than a Google search. Nothing's better than a Pinterest search. Nothing's better than asking ChatGPT or Perplexity. But for the things that you need to connect directly with a human being about, like fashion or like Chrissy and I are both practitioners of martial arts, right? So to talk with a martial arts coach about a specific move or something like that, that's something that I think is going to be really difficult to do with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. Um, this has been really wonderful. Like I said, I like when I first clicked on your website, I was like, this is different. This is a different thing than some of these other things that I come across. And I can tell by everything y'all have said that you've thought really intentionally about this and about the design to make sure that everyone's getting what they need from the platform. And I hope that it is incredibly successful and grows because I think both people with all of their really cool, amazing talents need this kind of outlet in addition to people that need to have actual connections with actual humans and get some of that micro consulting. So tell us a little bit more about where we can find you.
You can go to acesontap.com. And if you sign up to be an ACE, you can use code HUSTLE for you, Sarah. You can use Hustle to get 3 months off your ACE subscription. You can find us there. You can message Gemini. You can book session. We have free sessions available on our profiles. If you just want to learn about what it's like to be an ACE, just sign up for the concierge onboarding session and you're going to get asked some questions about we want you to think intentionally about what you would start with being on the platform, right? You can find us there, book time with us. Our calendars are always up to date.
Thank you both so much. This has been really awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. This was a lot of fun. I can't believe it went so fast.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you, Sarah.